This is Rev Michelle Hopkins. You remember the sonic anomaly that we found that had a diamond shape at the bottom of it, which in my humble opinion is the origination point of the emission, that spanned way past Europe and also I believe was powered by Ascension Island. Well, some information has come in that has borne everything that I said to be true, and there's more information besides. Someone mentioned to me that they thought that this was not in the atmosphere, but that this emission was in the ocean, under the water, in the sea. And I told him, I hadn't mentioned that, but I did mention that it did not have anything to do with weather. It had no effect on cloud formations, and I was under the impression it was therefore aquatic in nature. Well, I have some information to tell you. You remember all the TTAs at Georgetown on Ascension Island. There is a Tesla Tech Array base there. It is a U.S. military base along with some other people helping, but mostly U.S., Air Force, Army, and Navy. The name of the project is Ascension Island Hydroacoustic Data System. Here we see in this image Ascension Island has a northern leg and a leg, but this is only showing the first two northern legs and southern legs. The first one, the southern leg, we've already found, the South Atlantic Hydroacoustic Diamond. There is a northern leg that I will show you, and then there is a secondary northern leg that I will show you. There are more southern legs to this island that I will show you. In this picture, you see the cable that was running, that same type of cable was running in the space fence on that TTA. The cover story for Ascension Island Hydroacoustic Data System is this. The United States Air Force Technical Application Center, AFTAC, is tasked with monitoring compliance of nuclear test ban treaties for the U.S. AFTAC utilizes several different techniques, each designed to monitor a specific physical domain, i.e. underground, which means we have these TTA monitoring systems underground, space, and we've talked about the space fence. We also have our own platforms in space that are satellite based, and also oceans and other arenas than that. Together, these monitoring systems, equipment, and methods form the U.S. Atomic Energy Detection Systems, USAIDS. Now, this system is used in that fashion. It goes much further than this. What this does is, in this particular area, it will tell us if there are submarines that are ours or others, belonging to other people, particularly nuclear submarines, where they are, what vicinity they are with the U.S. and with our submarines. It's also used for communications. It's used for buoys and so forth, communications, and it is used to detect whether there have been nuclear bombs placed in areas where they do not belong. That is one of the many uses for this, but it's not all the uses for this. It's very possible that this day that this was emitted, that was the use for this. But there are more uses for this. Now, we've seen the Southern Atlantic Ascension Island Diamond. We've seen this arm of that array. We also remember the earthquakes that took place the 2 days that this emission took place. Here is one of the northern arms. This was probably the first arm that was mentioned, and you'll notice it's in this obscurement. This particular array is round. We cannot see it because it's being obscured. Alright, but I want you to notice where this is located. Okay, right at the 4 north fracture zone. What that means is it's a very delicate area in the ocean. It's well known for its capability to produce seismic activity, particularly earthquake. Now you'll notice this is one of the tectonic plates, this is a tectonic plate, this and this. These are 4 tectonic plates that have come to merge. And this pressure has moved this tectonic plates away from this. This line used to be level with this line. Let me back off a little bit. This line used to be level with this line, but this tectonic plate has moved it forward. Now, why would one of these arms, why would this particular arm of the Ascension Island array be placed at this very delicate zone where it could cause earthquakes? Well, when I have spoken to insiders, they've told me that one of the benefits of having a TTA in your region is that it can cause earthquakes somewhere else. Unfortunately, one of the liabilities is that when it does that, oftentimes it causes an earthquake where it's at. That's very interesting. Another thing that you might not be aware of is that the U.S. military has been working on perfecting tsunami technology. Russia has taken great strides in perfecting their tsunami technology. They boast, their officials, I've heard them myself, boast and brag that the 2011 Japan earthquake and tsunami was their doing. Their TTA bombarded a very sensitive area east of Japan, out in the middle of the ocean, and caused that massive earthquake, resulting in a tidal wave. Alright? This appears to me to be that same kind of technology. Something that is capable of producing tsunami via hydroacoustic means. There's some other things I'd like to show you. That's the first array, the first arm of the array. You remember this went very, very far north, way past Europe. And here is the far north Arctic array. Here it is. You can see the grid right here, and they have a few more issues, land issues, but you can see the tracks from the underwater rig that went up there to build this. Alright, you can see all the lines that go to and from it, but this is actually the diamond, and there's a grid that goes over it. That's the Arctic arm of the Ascension array. I am going to also note here that these types of aquatic emissions do devastation to aquatic life. They burn them to death. They cause acoustic drama resulting in death. Many of these animals were tested in necropsy, and their necropsy showed that they died of acoustic trauma and were burned to death in the ocean. Hundreds of thousands, some of them millions. We're going to find more and more aquatic deaths washing up on the shore that get in the way of these emissions, these TTA emissions that are hydroaquatic. These emissions that are hydroacoustic emissions, they are devastating to sea life. I would venture to say that every time we see an emission like this take place in the ocean, there's going to be massive aquatic kills washing up on shores all over the areas that they were in. It may take a while for them to wash up to the shore. For instance, if the ocean is traveling to the west and the shores that they come on are America, it may take weeks for them to get there. But shores like the African coast and the west coast of Europe, washing up may take between a few days and a week or two. But they will be massive in nature. Whole schools of aquatic animals will die as they pass through these aquatic acoustic emissions. Let me show you something else that this South Atlantic diamond can do, powered by the Ascension Island hydroacoustic system. You see this flare of light. This is a sonic flare. It's coming up directly from that. It's heating up the clouds in the sky. You see, they're actually hot. It's causing heat in the sky and in the clouds, coming down way over there. It's actually skipping off the ionosphere and coming back down. I've mentioned this in other films of mine, and it is not exactly at Palatino. And as you see, this is not as far inland as Palatino. This is an inlet from the ocean on the eastern shore of Brazil, going inland in from the inlet right here. Let me show you where that is. Right here seems to be that inlet, and they were standing up over here. And as you notice, the southern arm of the Ascension Island hydroacoustic system, that diamond is right here, just east where they said it was. Now let me let you see what that flare hitting the ionosphere and being projected down from that ionosphere looks like from the International Space Station. Here is ISS capturing images. Now you see this light that is coming up to the atmosphere and stopping at the atmosphere. It's because it's being bounced from below on the ground or in the sea. It's hitting the atmosphere and it's moving the clouds, but even though it excites the clouds and causes the clouds to part from its way, it goes back down into the atmosphere. It goes back down to the earth. Let's see what that looks like when it hits the Antarctic. You see this area that sound energy is causing the metal particulates and the ice and so forth to become incandescent. That sound is actually separating those clouds just like it did when it hit the ionosphere. That's what you're seeing, the separation of those clouds. Now, why are they doing that in the Antarctic? For the same reason they're doing it to Greenland and the same reason they're doing it to the Arctic, to melt the ice. It's all, whenever you wonder what in the world the PTB is doing, the powers that be, follow the money. Where is the money? What they're doing is, and there's documentation to this, I will try to put this documentation in the comment, in the description of this video. The documentation is the drive to drill for oil in the Arctic, in the Antarctic, and in Greenland. In the process, they're going to do their very level best to tax each and every one of us as much as they possibly can for our green, for how green we live our lives. For every breath we take, we're going to be taxed for that under the guise of global warming, for our carbon footprint. And the whole reason that these Antarctic and Arctic and ice shelves are melting is because their TTAs are heating them. They're superheating them and causing them to melt. In so doing, we're being told that the sea tides are rising. That's to be expected somewhat. I don't think they're going to rise as much as the powers that be believe they're going to rise. But when you have things like tsunami creating machines, who needs higher rising tides? You can just create the rising yourself. Psalm 73 says, "You guide me with your counsel, and afterward you will take me into glory. Whom have I in heaven but you? And earth has nothing I desire besides you. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart, and my portion forever. Those who are far from you will perish. You destroy all who are unfaithful to you. But as for me, it is good to be near God. I have made the sovereign Lord my refuge, and I will tell of all your deeds." I have some things to tell you, my friends. I've been receiving many death threats. Satanists have come on my page and written incantations and commanded people who were watching my videos and reading my comments to profess Satan and to reject God and Jesus. I've had people telling me on my page that they will be so glad when we Christians are taken away to FEMA camps and beheaded with guillotines. As God is my witness, these things have been coming against me on my pages and in my messages. I've been attacked from all sides, but I'm here to tell you, God is my refuge. Someday I will be with Him. I've learned many terrible things, and one day I may lose my life as a result of it, but I will not stop sharing the truth. As a watchman on the wall, I have to blow the trumpet in Zion. People have to know, people have to hear, and I will not stop until the Lord says to me, "Come home, my precious daughter." This is Rev Michelle Hopkins. Thank you for watching, everyone, and God bless you.